All right, welcome back to the channel. So, Ryan Garcia is rumored to be really pushing hard for a fight with Gervonta Davis, despite common sense that most people would have. But Teofio Lopez Sr. and Benard Hopkins think it's a 50-50 fight, and that Ryan Garcia has everything that he needs to beat Gervonta Davis right now. The conversation around that, I think, is very interesting because there's a lot of parallels in this fight to another fight that's rumored to be taking place, and that is the Terrence Crawford versus Manny Pacquiao fight. Let's talk about this in the video, and at the end of the video, let me know what you think. Let's do that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So in this video, we're going to talk about Ryan Garcia and Teofio Lopez, Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis in a fight that all sides seem to be trying to push towards and make, if not just in verbiage, I hope not just in verbiage, but the tone seems like they're somewhat serious about doing it. And so listening to, to the answers to questions that were posed to Teofio Lopez Sr. and Benard Hopkins, I'm thinking that, man, this guy, Ryan Garcia, might actually jump off the ledge and do this. Similar to what I was thinking, what I began to think yesterday when it was announced that Manny Pacquiao and Terrence Crawford, was done. Now, that was what was announced on YouTube after I read the article that came out from ESPN. ESPN said that they are in talks. Now, with the announcement supposed to come next week for Terrence Crawford's next opponent, I don't know does that mean if they're in talks that they're certain that it's going to be wrapped up by then? I'm not sure. However, for this particular thing, I am going to be highly, highly optimistic because I think that this fight is really important. That fight, Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao, is very important to the sport of boxing because it's central to the welterweight division, which is the second most important division in boxing in my mind. However, we're looking at pretty much the same situation with Gervonta Davis and Teofimo Lopez, a fight that could do absolutely huge things for the lightweight division as far as bringing interest to the sport for hardcore boxing fans. If these two guys fight, I am sure we're going to have great conversations about the fight from the time that it's announced to the time it takes place, and then for probably several weeks after that. That is the life cycle of a boxing match. It's fun for me well before the fight happens. It's fun talking to people, going back and forth about who they think that they're going to win. Knowing that there's going to be a certain amount of trolling going on about it. There's going to be a lot of people who don't necessarily, have a wealth of information at their disposal related to the sport of boxing. But still, it's just a really wonderful thing. So the idea of having Terrence Crawford and Manny Pacquiao taking place the same year as Gervonta and Ryan Garcia, I absolutely love it. But a reasonable question could be asked of me. Why do you say that these things are so similar? Let me explain it. First of all, Ryan Garcia and Manny Pacquiao are almost in identical positions, as are Gervonta Tank Davis and Terrence Crawford in these fights. And to be specific, if you look at Gervonta, Manny Pacquiao, right? Manny Pacquiao, not a lot of people are going to think that he would make this fight because of what? The age, right? He's an older fighter. If Manny Pacquiao was 33 years old and Terrence Crawford was 33 years old, nobody would doubt that fight would take place, and that it would be a fantastic fight. And many people might actually say that Manny Pacquiao would have the advantage in that fight. I'm not going to say that because that's not the point of analysis in this particular video, but you get my point. The big thing that in people's mind that makes that fight questionable between Manny Pacquiao and Terrence Crawford is the age of Manny Pacquiao, coupled with the fact that Manny Pacquiao also has other options that he could have that would be rewarding for him and significantly less risky, right? So the combination of Manny Pacquiao's age, compared to Terrence Crawford's, and the amount of money that he could make by avoiding Terrence Crawford, right? Which is in 1 or 2 fights would be the same as fighting Terrence Crawford, right? He could do 2 pay-per-views, win them both, right? Cause excitement, not win a belt, and still make as much money, but take less risk in fighting Terrence Crawford. So that was why I was saying this is just not very logical for Manny Pacquiao to make this fight. But again, even though this fight is in talks and not done, I'm still very hopeful because, again, of what it would mean to the welterweight division. The same thing, well, flip that and say, well, what does Terrence Crawford get out of it? Or better yet, let's go to the direct comparison with Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia is in the same situation. He's a fighter that is popular on his own and who has an age issue or age/experience issue relative to the guy he's fighting. Now, Ryan Garcia may not be, the age difference isn't as extreme. It's not a 10-year age difference. I think it may be a 2-year age difference, something like that. I think he may be somewhere around 21, 22, something like that. And Gervonta somewhere around 24, 25. But if you look at the amount of the championship experience and the ring experience and where people think Gervonta Davis is along his developmental path versus where Ryan Garcia is, and by that I mean, how close is he to meeting his potential, right? And I don't think Gervonta Davis has reached his peak yet, but I believe that he is closer to his peak than Ryan Garcia is. So the age and experience factor is not in the advantage of Ryan Garcia, similar to the age factor not being in the advantage of Manny Pacquiao, right? So, and they both have something in common, that they can fight other people and that are going to be easier competition and make more money. In the case of Manny Pacquiao, he could probably do that shit immediately with like a fight with Mikey Garcia. And then if he wanted to have a fight with pretty much any other top guy, say he wanted to fight the winner of Jose Ramirez versus Josh Taylor, right? He could fight Jose Ramirez. He could fight Josh Taylor, right? And just say he decided, hey, I want to fight at 147. I want to fight at 140 for all the belts at 140. Easy option for him. Ryan Garcia's options are also wide open, with the exception that he probably doesn't have as many developed champions to fight, but not far off. He could say, hey, man, let me go fight Ray Beltran. Let me go fight, somebody moving up like an Abner Mares or somebody like that, who's going from 130 and going up into a weight class he doesn't belong in, but yet has a good name and will sell tickets, right? And plus, Ryan Garcia, I do believe money is guaranteed from DAZN. So the same dynamic comes into play. With Gervonta Davis and Terrence Crawford, same thing. Terrence Crawford is going into a situation where he should be expected to win, right? And if he wins, he's not going to get a lot of credit for beating an old Manny Pacquiao, but what he will get is a boost in his name recognition because he shared a ring with him on pay-per-view. Same thing for Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis, if he beats Ryan Garcia, is not going to get a lot of credit for doing it in the ring because people are going to say, similar to Manny Pacquiao being too old, they're going to say Ryan Garcia is not developed. But still, the whole event will get Gervonta Davis' name elevated and in the public mind, and with a convincing win, gives him even more leverage for his future fights. Identical to Terrence Crawford's situation with Errol Spence. So, I see a lot of similarity between these two guys, and I hope that both these fights happen. Now, the last thing, and this is where Benard Hopkins and Teofimo Lopez come into play, along with, the legions of Manny Pacquiao fans. Although many boxing fans who pay attention to it on a day-to-day basis and are really looking at it may say, nah, Ryan's not ready for Tank, right? That ain't going to matter to Tank, because Tank ain't going to care. The money's there for him. And Ryan Garcia, he has a fan base and he has supporters in his camp that may be diluted, but they definitely support the idea of the fight. And I don't know when Ryan about it, but what you think, But when Benard Hopkins vouches for it, man, I start to think, yeah, maybe he knows something that I don't know. Because, hey, man, Ryan does have advantages of length, and height on Gervonta. Maybe he really believes he can do it. Same thing is going to happen with Manny Pacquiao and his fans relative as far as it concerns, his chances to beat Terrence Crawford. They will believe in him, and they will believe that he's going to win the fight. They're definitely going to believe he won the fight. And if Manny Pacquiao loses it, what's going to happen. They're going to act like the loss never took place. They're going to justify whatever shortcomings are with Manny Pacquiao's age. And then they are going to, and if it's a close fight and Terrence Crawford wins it, they're going to say Manny Pacquiao won the fight. So Manny Pacquiao keeps flowing on. Same thing for Ryan Garcia. They're going to chalk it up to the fact that he was young when he fought him, and he's going to do better down the road, just like they did for Canelo and Floyd Mayweather. Regardless, that's what I think. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.